What is the difference between an atom and a molecule? So take a look at these three substances: helium, hydrogen gas, and H2O. Which of these substances are composed of atoms and which ones are composed of molecules? Helium is composed of atoms. Each particle of helium is made up of one atom of helium. A particle of hydrogen gas is a molecule. One particle contains two atoms. A molecule is basically a particle with multiple atoms. Water is a molecule. You have an oxygen atom and two hydrogen atoms. So at the center, this is the larger oxygen atom, and then these are the two hydrogen atoms. So a molecule is basically a particle with many atoms. It could be made up of the same type of atom or different types of atoms. Helium is considered to be a pure element. It's made up of only one type of atom. Hydrogen gas is also a pure element. Water is not a pure element because water has two different types of hydrogen atoms. Just atoms in general. It's composed of hydrogen and oxygen atoms. So water is not a pure element. But H2 and H2O are considered to be molecules. So let's work on some more examples. For each of these substances, determine if it's composed of atoms or molecules, and also determine if it's a pure element or if it's a compound. Let's start with O2. Is it composed of atoms or molecules? One particle of O2 contains two atoms, so it's a molecule since it contains multiple atoms. Now, because it only contains one type of atom, it's a pure element. The only type of atom that we have in O2 are oxygen atoms. Now, what about CO2? Would you consider a particle of CO2 as an atom or a molecule? Now, CO2 contains many atoms, so it's considered to be a molecule. However, it doesn't have one type of atom. It's composed of different types of atoms. It has carbon atoms and oxygen atoms, so therefore it's not a pure element. It's a compound. A compound is a substance that is composed of many different types of atoms. A compound is basically not a pure element. Neon is composed of atoms. One particle of neon looks like this. It's simply one atom. Whereas an oxygen molecule, is composed of two oxygen atoms. So that's why O2 is a molecule and neon is not. And let's say if we wanted to draw CO2, there are three atoms. We have a carbon atom and two oxygen atoms. So this is the carbon, and these are the two oxygen atoms. Neon is also a pure element because we don't have two different elements. There's only just one neon. Now what about fluorine? Fluorine is very similar to O2. It's composed of molecules because each particle contains multiple atoms, and it's a pure element. We only have one type of atom. So now you know the difference between atoms, molecules, compounds, and pure elements. So just to review, a particle is considered an atom if there's only just one atom. If there's multiple atoms, then the particle is considered to be a molecule. If there's only one type of atom, it's a pure element, and if there's different types of atoms, you have a compound. Now, what is the difference between an atom and an ion. What do you think the difference between these two are? Atoms are electrically neutral. Atoms contain equal number of protons and electrons. Ions, on the other hand, contain different number of protons and electrons. So a good example is the aluminum atom and the aluminum ion, which has a 3+ charge. Aluminum has